Hi, I'm Kevin Matthews, Scottish film fan living in England, and this week I think we are covering two very different films, but I can have a chip on my shoulder about both of them. Two chips for the price of one this week.
I'm Dave Gray, and this week I learned sometimes more is not better. Sometimes more is not better.
I'm Tyler Hosley, and I barely remember anything from last week's episode. So apparently, I watched the first 4 episodes of Stranger Things for nothing. And this is Raiders of the Podcast.
Yay!
Yay. Well, I mean, let's be fair. How much of our stuff do you actually remember by the end of the week?
I mean, I remember a lot of our movies, but when it comes to like Stranger Things, I was sick as hell watching fucking Stranger Things. So I would have to go. I think I had to go back and kind of rewatch some episodes because man, I was just out of it. But yeah,
Nice.
I will have to. But before we watch the volume 2, and then the finale, whatever day that airs.
Yeah, it's
later.
coming.
Mhm.
That's coming.
But I did watch Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, which I really like a lot. I actually saw that theatrically back when it came out in 2004. But I love the original Anaconda. For me, that is like one of the greatest, just cheesy creature features of the '90s. And I mean that genuinely. Like I love that movie. I think it's a fucking blast, and the cast they just managed to wrangle up for that movie is pretty fucking special. But while the sequel doesn't have that cast, unfortunately, it's still a lot of fun. Apparently, they shot most of it on location in actual Fiji, which actually looks really authentic and really good. The CGI actually holds up fairly well too, and it feels like a genuine adventure movie, which is something we don't get very often anymore. I have not watched any of the Anaconda movies that follow. The thought of watching a Sci-Fi Channel Anaconda 3 starring David Hasselhoff makes me want to cry. But maybe one day I'll watch it after I watch the Jack Black Paul Rudd one, which also make me might monocry. So who the hell knows? Might be worse than Hasselhoff. Who knows? But have you guys watched the Sci-Fi Channel ones?
I have.
Are they worth watching at all, or not really?
Well, define worth watching.
Um, I don't know. Does it have like Sci-Fi Channel CGI? Like, is it that?
I mean,
Yeah,
it is. It is a 2008 Sci-Fi Channel movie. What the fuck do you think?
I could go with if the snake actually looked okay, like it does in this one. I could go with it, but I can't go with David Hasselhoff and a bad looking snake. So I don't know. Maybe that's probably just me. But
I thought Crystal Allen would get you in there like immediately.
I have him sitting here. I probably just fucking watch. I even own fucking Lake Placid versus Anaconda, which I have never watched. So maybe one day. Maybe one day. But that's me. I just had a pretty light week.
I like when you say maybe one day, and I know it's going to be like tomorrow.
Probably because I wanted to watch all these before the new one, so I would probably say yes. By the end of the week, I'll have watched Anaconda 3 and 4.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean
Nice.
they are bad and horribly. They all blur into one for me because I watched the Anacondas and the Lake Placids, so I could then see Lake Placid versus Anaconda. It's just it's like thinking back on them fills my head with images of some green painted Nokia snake game. That's all I've got in there.
I mean, he's not wrong. That is what it's like.
Well, at least with Anaconda, there's at least there's two good Anaconda movies. Lake Placid, there's like one good movie, and that's it. Those sequels are horrendous. I actually watched all those, and those are fucking just horrible.
Is there one good movie, or is there just one movie with Betty White?
That one, I
What
think that
makes
one's
you
a
think it's
blast.
good?
Bridget Fonda, Bill Pullman, Oliver Platt. Man, that's another cast that was like fucking stacked. I really like that movie.
Brendan
They needed
Gleeson.
money.
Like if
Brendan
Yeah.
Gleeson.
he wouldn't stand for this Brendan Gleeson erasure, and you know that, Dave.
I do. That's why I did it. I had a pretty short week also. The only one I'm going to talk about is I saw 1980s Bat Without Wings from Shaw Studios, directed by Chor Yoon. Chor Yoon is pretty fucking awesome. I'm pretty sure Kevin's seen a handful of his movies. He did so much stuff for the Shaws in the 80s and 70s. I don't remember if he, kept going after like 91. I can't think of any after that, but he had like a ton of shit over 30 years or so. Just great stuff. So much fun. Bat Without Wings is about a guy who wears Gene Simmons makeup and is an evil martial artist, and it's just a blast. It's just an absolute blast. It's in one of the Shaw sets from Arrow. I watched it on the Arrow streaming service. And if you enjoy wuxia, especially that era of wuxia, I totally recommend giving it a look. Unfortunately, I didn't. Huh?
Was that you? Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna make a comment about Yoon's other 1980 movie, but then I decided not to because I might make you guys watch it soon because it is very, very up everyone's alley. Let's put it that way.
I watched all 4 of the Carry On Christmas specials, so you can all breathe a sigh of relief that I am not making you watch them for the podcast. They are certainly more fun than the last Carry On film we watched that I made you watch. But it's bizarre because the first one is kind of a Christmas Carol, and then it has these little tangents and doesn't actually stick to a Christmas Carol and where they could turn that into a series of comedy skits. Doesn't really do that. It has a couple of bits, but not much, and it was okay. But I I thought I was going to enjoy it more. Whereas the next one, the second of the specials, is based on Treasure Island, and that was a really fun one. That was probably the best of the 4. Then you have the third, which doesn't have many of the stars in the mix and is the weakest of the 4. And when you get to the last one, there's quite a lot of fun to be had there, but it starts with a skit in which Sid James is a department store Santa, kind of in the Bad Santa mold, and Barbara Windsor is a 13-year-old boy who has bumps that show she isn't a boy and gets into a conversation with Santa that's really uncomfortable and unpleasant because they kind of keep acknowledging the fact she's supposed to be this innocent child acting up in front of Santa. It's very icky. But the rest of it does become much less icky and quite amusing. So, mileage will vary, but us Brits will still stand by a lot of the carry-ons. They were generally better than Merv. I watched Merv. Have you heard of Merv?
I'm still thinking about how we should, we should have declared war over the Carry On movies. Yes, I've heard of Merv.
Yeah, Merv has Zoe Deschanel and Charlie Cox as a couple who are they've separated and their dog gets a bit depressed. The dog is between them, so to try and cheer up the dog, Charlie Cox takes it to a doggy resort in Florida, and then Zoe Deschanel joins him, and you can imagine how that goes. It is on Prime Video as sort of a holiday choice, and there are some Christmas trimmings, but because they go to a doggy resort in Florida, it's not exactly filled with Christmas cheer and any winter wonderland scenes. But it was, it was bang average, really. So
I feel you're being too kind for a Prime original movie.
Well, now I know you're animal lovers, right? And I'm at heart an animal lover, but Vicky has her allergies, so I have to stay away from dogs in general. And she also has a pet peeve though, and it's like if we go somewhere and someone has a buggy and then she sees there's a dog in the buggy, she's really like I just turn to look at the rage in her eyes before I look anywhere else. And if dogs have like cute sweaters on or any kind of accessorizing going on, she starts to just rage. It's really fun. It's that's her equivalent of Dave when your rage veins throbbing. That's what does it for Vic. And Merv has a lot of pampered poochies in there. A lot. So it was actually more amusing for me to be able to watch the film and keep turning to watch Vicky's face just go redder and redder with the building rage. Um, by then, she was kind of like the little anger guy in Inside Out. That's what she was. So yeah, I mean, I recommend it to. I'd recommend it to Tyler. He can see all the cute dogs being pampered. And like the central dog, Merv, is a cutie. Very nice. Try to think of what else I watched that was seasonally appropriate before going to anything else. Oh, right. I watched a very Jonas Christmas movie. Why? Because it was there, and I thought we'll give it a go. This was actually all right. Obviously, it's on Disney Plus. I am not a fan of the Jonas Brothers or their music really. I think there's about one song that I liked, and then found out it was theirs, and I was just like, huh. Hmm. This is a pretty fun film, though. It's quite well done. They seem to have a certain self-awareness and ability to joke about their own image and reputations, whether that's like been forced upon them over time or whether they've always grown up with that awareness. I don't know, but yeah, it was a decent little time filler. Like there's a point where they have to hitchhike, and one of the brothers says, hitchhiking is such and such, you know, dangerous activity in the US. We were voted the second most punchable band ever. Those stats together means we're unlikely to get to a destination alive, kind of thing. And it was pretty funny. Yeah, I enjoyed what they all brought to the table. But like, did they start as musicians and then develop, or were they like created in a Disney lab from very early on and moved on from there?
Did they move on?
Oh, like, well, I don't know, but did they end up, moving into the Disney sphere, or did Disney always have them from the start and present them as, these are our people, this is our band?
Oh, I believe Disney's always owned them.
Right, okay. Hmm. Well, yeah, it was fun, and I think they walk a good line between having the humor and approach that is a bit necessary as they're older and acknowledging that, and obviously still keeping that pretty squeaky clean Disneyfied image. I watched The Mastermind, which is the latest film from Kelly Reichardt. I think I'm saying her name correctly, and stars Josh O'Connor as someone who ends up trying to, well, quite quickly plan and execute a small art heist. I'm going to mull that over a bit more. It was um, a little bit too low key for me, and it kind of disappointing. I expected a bit more from it, considering Reichardt's been doing well for years now. Josh O'Connor's on a hot streak. He was very good in the latest Knives Out film, and yeah, I don't know. It's maybe partly my fault for having higher expectations, but I wasn't overly impressed with the mastermind, unfortunately. Have either of you two seen that yet? I know it's getting like buzz.
I have not.
Nope. Skipped it.
See, you might like. I can't remember Reichardt's last film. I mean, she did something after First Cow, didn't she?
Did
Or
she?
was, or was
I
that the
don't.
last one?
I think that was the last one.
Like, I really liked First Cow, and obviously that is still quite a. I mean, look, Kelly Reichardt's not going to come out with The Rock 2, is she? But there was just more to First Cow, and the characters were just more sort of likable and interesting, and the story unfolding in a better way. It's hard to put my finger on, but
Oh, you know what? She did do another one. Showing Up. I just thought of that.
I didn't see that one. I did
The
hear
Michelle Williams where she was a
good things about it.
sculptor. I
Yeah.
liked that one. Didn't love it,
Uh,
but I did enjoy that one.
And then, last but not least, I got around to watching Influencers, which is a follow up to Influencer. I really liked Influencer, and when it ended, I certainly wasn't thinking, "Oh, we need a sequel to that." But I did really like it, and now I've seen and enjoyed the sequel, and it got to the end. I was like, I could watch 2 more sequels from this. Like, if this becomes some long running series, I would be quite happy. CW is a really fun, like psycho character. Cassandra Nod, Neud is how you spell her surname. I've never heard it pronounced. Naud, Cassandra Naud, maybe. She's great in that role. Emily Tennant returns from the first film. She was Madison, the potential like stalked victim in the first film, and the new people here do well at being quite amusing and quite awful. And if all we had was movie after movie of this character basically stalking and preying on the egos of influencers to then put the pain on them and dispatch them, I would be more than happy with that. Probably says a lot about me. But yeah, it's like a really good like social media generation thriller. And yeah, like I really, really recommend this. If you like the first film, you're going to like this. I rate them both equally. They're both easily solid 8 out of 10s. There is perhaps an issue with the plausibility of this leading on from how the first film panned out, but it's really glossed over slightly enough that you're not bothered because you start to have fun as soon as all the main characters are starting to be moved into place ready for the finale. It's really good, and yeah, I look forward to. Well, if writer director Curtis David Harder doesn't do more of these, then if he somehow takes this sensibility into some different material, I'll be very happy to keep watching his stuff.
See, the
And
thing is, I know
yeah,
now has been in other movies Kevin has seen.
yes. Now I can't recall off the top of my head, but I do know her from other stuff. Um, but no, I I can't recall for the life of me.
She appears in every A Cinderella Story movie, including A Cinderella Story Christmas Wish, which we all know you have seen more than once.
You know what?
We all know it.
I actually don't think I have seen any of the Cinderella story films.
I think you're
Um,
lying, but okay.
so Well, certainly not since I've rated and reviewed them. I don't think because, and a Cinderella story, A Christmas Wish, wasn't on my snowy Christmassy letterbox list,
Yet.
so
The first
I'll
the
have to
first one
change that.
had the first one had Chad Michael Murray and Hilary Duff, right?
I have no idea. Do you know how much I know about that series? The only trivia I know about it, I just said. And I only know it because I looked her up after watching Influencers the other day.
Okay, I'm looking it up right now. Yes, Hilary Duff, Chad Michael Murray, and Jennifer Coolidge were in the first
Yeah.
one.
I know
Well,
it sounds
good
I know
for
it sounds
her.
obvious, but I wasn't sure if Harder had ever mentioned that, the character's name just being CW uh could obviously just mean content warning as well, considering it is all about her sort of, kind of waging war or picking victims from Instagram and social media. I like to think that, and then I do think it's very obvious, so I think maybe he's not even had to say it because he's just like, oh. Anyway, that was me. You go on with whatever you have to say about the episode while I see where I can watch A Cinderella Story Christmas Wish, you son of a bitch.
You're welcome. This week, we watched the 2018 Philippine drama film Oda Sawala, or Ode to Nothing, and the 1983 British comedy drama Educating Rita. Hey, T,
Yes.
would you like to pick a movie and tell us about it?
Sure will. I am going to go with your pick, Dave, Ode to Nothing,
Fuck yeah.
which is about Sonya, a maid who is about to give up on herself until one day she meets a corpse in her family's embalming business that changes her life. This was fantastic. Depressing and bleak as hell, but it still managed to be this fucking gorgeous, like, meditation on loneliness and isolation and detachment. It even sprinkles in some dark humor throughout, which actually really surprised me because I didn't expect any kind of humor in this movie. It's a film about death, and one in the literal sense, and the other, while the character is still alive, still feels like she's living a life completely just devoid of meaning and non-existence. It's brutal stuff, but completely fascinating. Has a nice, slow, somber pace, perfect for the melancholy atmosphere this film has. The performances are brilliant, especially the lead who plays Sonya. She is fucking amazing. um just the emotional sadness that comes off her character just feels so real and so raw. I mean, it's wonderfully performed. This actress is fantastic. But yeah, this was great stuff, Dave. Like, genuinely might be one of my favorite Dave picks of the year. Like, just completely blew me away, hit me in the gut emotionally. Just, yeah, it's brutal stuff, but there is something uplifting about it that I just can't put my finger on right now. But man, this was a fucking winner. Like, I went to the internet right after to go try to find the Blu-ray for this. Does it exist on Blu-ray? Because I cannot fucking find one, like, anywhere.
It does. I have it.
What company? It's not Vinegar Syndrome, right? Or is it?
Uh, it is. I got it through one of their partners. I got it at one of their big sales.
Okay, because I saw one on eBay and the cover looked weird.
Yeah,
It didn't look like it should be that
no,
movie, but it must be that what I'm thinking of.
yeah, because it's just it's a weird cover.
I thought so because the cover made it look like some unearthed movie, which is not
Yeah,
what this is. So
it definitely, like, it is bad cover design, but it is a Vinegar Syndrome, and it's still available.
yeah, I'm gonna go order that like ASAP. I thought that was the one, but I just wanted to make sure before I did. But yes, this was great, Dave. This was an excellent pick.
Um, it's difficult to follow that because I I think I kind of almost agree with Tyler now. I think. Um, and I didn't. Like, I really didn't, Dave. I almost did you a disservice. Ode to Nothing is a very it's a very quiet film. There are many moments where it's quite still. Even when the actor is speaking, she's speaking to a corpse, and that's not going to make for the liveliest conversation scenes. And I think I kind of like zoned out a bit while I was watching it. It was kind of trance-like at times, and I was getting what it was doing, or I thought for the most part. But by the end, I didn't really feel affected by that. I thought it looked fine. I mean, there's some shots that are quite nice. It's well done in the way that the corpse is positioned and how it's used throughout the film, but I didn't think it was a particularly beautiful film. I didn't find anything technical that stood out. I was just like, it was okay. Dave's picked this. It was a bit of a slog, and well, we'll talk about it on the podcast. But I was like, well, if I've got time, I should really rewatch it. And I did. And I just really didn't allow myself to relax and zone out. I just focused on every moment. And like, this is a cheesy cliche, but it kind of opened it up for me like some lovely bloom. And yeah, I was really impressed by this. It's like the I was half joking when I said a chip on my shoulder with both films, but in a way it is, because Ode to Nothing looks at loneliness and desperation. It looks at someone with declining mental health who isn't really helped by those around her. In fact, if anything, it's worsened. The way it's is Rudy. Rudy's her dad, isn't it? Junie Gamboa plays that character. Of characters, right?
Yes.
Right, we're on. Yeah,
Yeah.
like he just puts up with this for a while, and yeah, it's like this woman who is billed as Pokwang, I think. Well, she's got a different name as well, but Pokwang is her performing name. She just she's using this body as a sounding board after it's been left there. Then it kind of becomes a confidant. It's almost a companion, and she projects everything to it. And there's a brief moment where it seems like what's being reflected back at her is actually coincidentally some good fortune and just some little details that will improve her lot in life. But you're then reminded that, well, the woman is just talking to a corpse that can't give her any real guidance or advice or pointers towards any, major answers to problems in her life. And that's where it's going towards the second half of the film. It's just like it's really well done. It's a really interesting idea. People do come to this woman in their states of grief, and she provides them with some support. You do see scenes with her. She's trying to run a business. She's trying to survive as a business. She needs to, make sales, as it were, on top of whatever the standards are. So you see that, but you also see she is just there as that sort of blank space for others to be just grieving in front of or talking to. And things really come to a crunch with a character called Elmer, played by Anthony Falcon. And what happens there shows you, I think, the crux of it when when positions are changed and flipped around, and that was really like it's really painful, and yet still sort of there's still a sweetness because it shows you what this character is carrying around with it all the time. Like Sonya is carrying around in a way, the grief of everyone, and also just trying to do her job and do like whatever duties she has to carry out. And I liked how this ended up becoming unbalanced. Yeah, in a way that I think people could watch this and react the way I did on my first viewing. I think there's nothing really that happens that's worth enough of your time and energy while you watch it, and nothing really about the ending that will have you going away and mulling it over. But actually, that I am really so glad that I made time for that second viewing. There was part of me I was like, like Dave liked this, and he didn't. When you recommended this, Dave, I can't remember you sort of bringing any hesitation with it or any, oh, here are some provisions when you watch it. So it was just like there's a reason why you would normally, either laugh about who's going to hurt or have a bet on who will like it most. I was just like, no, it deserves, me not to zone out while I'm watching it because of that atmosphere and stillness. So I did. I was worried because I think on that second viewing, I just really went in and went even closer to Sonya, the main character. And if you go on that journey with her, it makes the whole thing, it's more bittersweet. It's still satisfying without giving you all answers. But it does, it's a little story about big themes that are part of us with the loneliness, the yearning for connections, the grief, and sometimes you just need to have a corpse propped up by the dinner table that you can talk to while you're eating. I mean, Vicky was unhappy when I tried that a couple of years ago, but we've got rid of it since. It's buried in the woods at the back. Not a problem. Sometimes dogs try and dig it up, but now I don't have anyone to talk to when Vicky's on shift and I'm at home alone. But such is normal life, apparently. Anyway, thanks, Steve.
Yay. Okay. So the lead actress is generally a comedian, and she does use the stage name Pok Wang when a comedian, but in this she is actually credited under her real name, which is Marietta Subong. And I just, wanted to be clear on that. And she is excellent. She is absolutely fucking fantastic. This is a movie about being disaffected and loneliness, and it nails the feeling and the everything. I think it's fantastic. It's a hell of a character study about these two characters who just cannot connect to anything except this corpse. I adore it. I stumbled on it a few months ago on a vinegar sale, like I just said earlier. It's made by Black Sheep Productions, which in the Philippines tried to be like a Philippine version of A24 or Neon, making outside of the mainstream kind of stuff. This was their second film, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's incredibly well shot. The two lead performances are just incredibly subtle and naturalistic. I adore it, and it's one I've been meaning to show for a long time because I do love it, and because I love it, I don't want to say too much about it because I do want to encourage people to look for it. This is something that is worth your time.
Did you say that you'd read reviews from people just try to be dismissive because
she's a
he'd
comedian.
been-
Yeah, on
yeah.
IMDb and a couple of the Rotten Tomatoes audience reviews tried to dismiss it because she's a comedian. Because she's a comedian, they didn't believe that she could ever be lonely. And those people have never met comedians.
But I mean, there's nothing in that performance that would make you think, oh, this isn't someone capable of straight acting. This is a comedian being, landing a gimmicky part. There's nothing there. It's a, as you say, it's just the main performances are great.
Yeah, she's incredible. So is I know you said it and I wrote it down, but I don't have it in front of me at the moment. But so is the guy that plays her dad. He is
Junie Gamboa.
Rudy. Yeah, Junie
I
Gamboa.
know that. Yeah.
Yeah, he is absolutely fantastic. And the old woman is played by Lita Loresco, and like she doesn't do much, but for a corpse, it's an incredible performance. I'm just saying, I don't know how she didn't make any sounds at all in those scenes. Anyway, the rest of the cast: Anthony Falcon is Elmer in a couple scenes, and he's really good. And Dito de la Paz is their landlord, and he is also absolutely excellent. And I believe he's also a comedian. I'm not as up on Filipino pop culture as I would like to pretend, but I believe he is also a comedian by trade, and like they both just do fantastic. Like I would not have expected that. I would have thought they were both. Actually, Dito de la Paz was in another one of the movies we watched. He's the evil mayor in Lenore Will Never Die.
Oh, I remember that film.
Yeah.
Yes.
I noticed that Tyler does not remember that film, which I don't blame him.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think if I remember right, you and Craig liked that film more than Tyler and I. Certainly
We
a bit
did.
more than I did.
I didn't love it. Craig loved it. I'm sorry Craig couldn't make it this week because I was really curious to hear what he had to say because he was taunting me, calling it a Filipino Wes Anderson film, and I was like, "You're fucking insane." I wanted to hear him fucking justify that shit, but no, I never will. So
Wait, this movie he said it was a Wes Anderson
yeah,
movie?
yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
I didn't get any Wes Anderson vibes, thank
Yeah,
God. But
me neither. I think he was just saying it to try to poison you. I was like, dude, I like you just cannot start with this movie. If that's what you're gonna say, don't poison tea against me. But yeah, I don't want to say too much because I think it's excellent. I think everybody should see this. This is and I've said this about other movies where I don't want to talk about it too much because I think it's just a fantastic work that folks should look at for, and we should. This is the stuff we should be searching out and recommending to others because it is incredible. It is a hell of a piece of work. Kevin's pick this week was Educating Rita, the 1983 comedy drama directed by Lewis Gilbert, written by Willy Russell, and based on his own 1980 stage play by the same name. It stars Michael Caine and Julie Walters as a pair thrown together by circumstances. Caine plays Frank Bryant, a jaded alcoholic former poet now working as a professor at Open University, course in literature. When Susan, who originally calls herself Rita, a 26-year-old hairdresser, dissatisfied with her life, comes in to change. And it's kind of like a reverse Pygmalion from there. I'm not going to ask if you guys have read the play because I know you haven't. So the play it's a two-hander. It is Frank and Rita in a room doing basically all the scenes which are them alone comes directly from the play, right? And when it's the scenes of them alone, it's excellent. There's some really solid dialogue. It's all very surface, but it's good surface. You get a little bit of these characters. You get some fun banter. It's an enjoyable, and Michael Caine and Julie Walters are excellent, especially Julie Walters. She sparkles and shines in this film. She gives a hell of a performance. The thing is, everything else does not happen on screen or on stage, but it does happen on screen in this, and this is where it kind of falls apart because nothing outside of the room when it's the two of them is nearly as well done. The cast outside of them is absolutely atrocious. I mean, just atrociously bad. Maureen Lipman plays Trish, who's Rita's roommate later on, and she's actually really good in other stuff. She was a longtime Royal Shakespeare person. I believe she's knighted. She was in The Pianist. She's in Carry On Columbus, which I'm sure that makes Tyler happy. I think she's been in Coronation Street for about a decade now. Also, I mean she's a solid actor. But in this, she plays like the worst, most cartoon thin, awful character you can think of, and she does it poorly. Michael Williams plays Rita's husband. He is probably best known as, I think he's the person to play Dr. Watson the most. He voiced it in a BBC radio adaptation against Clive Marison, who is Judi Dench's husband.
I mean, I hope he didn't give Dr. Watson an accent like this one.
God, I hope not. I've never actually heard it. It's one of the few Holmes things I haven't heard or seen. It I just kind of forget about it. It's not personal. It's just there's so much other. I backburnered it and never got around to it. Dear Bella Malloy, who's a Irish actress, is like another third tier. Jeanette Crowley is Frank's girlfriend, Julia, and she's atrocious. Julie is having an affair with a guy who is like the worst actor I have ever seen in a professional film. He's just like everybody outside of Michael Caine and Julie Walters are terrible. And the dialogue they are given is terrible. The fact that it's written by the same guy is kind of shocking. I nitpicked what was the dresser. I nitpicked that a little because it's a little over the top. But this is really how you just totally destroy a stage production adaptation to film. Again, when it sticks to the play, I think it's great. And it has two really good performances at its heart, but nothing around it supports them. And instead, when they're not together, it's a slog. And it's a cartoonish slog. It's not somebody that's actually dealt with any of the things they're dealing with. It's very just... It's very farty above it all trash when it's not the two of them. And I hate to say it because, again, when it's the two of them, I think it's fantastic. This might be the film I'm most disappointed in because when it's good, it sings, but that's only maybe a quarter of the film. And the rest of the time, we are being dragged by the nose through ridiculous, poorly done setups.
Well, just before Tyler jumps in, Dave, I was checking what else Michael Williams had been in because you were insulting him. He has also voiced Dr. Watson, which you may already know, but it's a podcast series called The Return of Sherlock Holmes.
I'm
one story.
I'm aware of that.
But because Tyler won't have done the Wednesday post yet, because it's only Friday, It's Williams was also the voice of Charlie Chalk, which you guys won't know, but it was a cute little British animated thing from the late 80s. And he was just this kind of clown character that went about on a beach and had very harmless adventures. So I'm giving the Charlie Chalk shout out for those similar to my age who might remember that character.
So this really isn't my thing, but for what it is, it's fine. Michael Caine is always good. He's just one of those actors that you can always count on to give a really solid performance, no matter what material you give him. He can be in a movie like Jaws of Revenge and still be good. It's just Michael Caine is awesome. Um, Julie Walters is actually excellent here, though. For me, she's the real standout in this entire movie. I loved her in this. Um, I really hated the music in this though. Like that really brought it down for me a lot. It just feels really out of place with the movie that's playing on screen. I can't express how much I strongly dislike the music. But terrible music aside, it's a charming little British drama. I had no idea this was based on a play, but I can kind of see it now, especially the scenes with Kane and Walters. It's well written. It's a well written little character study with solid chemistry between those two leads. The dialogue is fine. The script handles the ideas of class and class boundaries pretty well. And the characters play off each other incredibly well for the most part. But the second half is where it kind of just drags it down a bit for me. I feel like it just goes on a little too long. Dave said it perfectly. Anybody who isn't Michael Caine and Julie Walters, you just don't really care about because they just aren't good. But I would say the movie is worth a watch. I'd probably never watch this again, but it's perfectly entertaining while it's playing on your TV. And like I said, you can never go wrong with Michael Caine because he's Michael Caine's awesome. It's just it wouldn't be a movie that I would return to, but solid enough for a one-time watch.
First of all, before I forget, I was going to agree with everyone on the music, and then I remembered as it picked up, it like it's not by anyone that I recognise. It's by David Henschel, but I always thought it had a bit of a Wendy Carlos vibe as it got going. So I ended up really liking the music, even though it doesn't necessarily suit the story. I like it for what it is. But here, I've not watched Educating Rita for many, many years. Now, I first saw this when I was very young, and it was a really like strong favorite film of my mother's. And like as I grew older, I came to understand that I think my mum always wanted to be, viewed as or become like Rita or Susan. But unfortunately, she'd actually already gone the way of Bryant, and so didn't have didn't have the backlog of say poetry and literature and writing or anything to squander. Just that her escape was usually alcohol rather than novels and poetry. So that heart of this film has always been something that's been very close to me with the class, with the um with the journeys of the characters, and with the sort of the toing and froing of how they change, not necessarily for the better, on the way to the ending. So always been very important to me, and I really like it for that. And I had a question lined up for Dave, but I was worried he might answer it properly for me. But I genuinely can't think of. I can think of films similar to this, whether it's students who discover a love of writing or reading, whether it's people being inspired by teachers, whether it's somebody learning to appreciate certain art. But I've never found something that was like a real uh, proper parallel to this with with the blend of class, culture, and art, with the appreciation of it, with the use of it, and with the ways it can change people for the better. Oh, you've got any snobbery that gets a bit worse. Reel it back in to get back to the better again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Obviously, it is a bit dated, but I do think there's nothing still actually quite like this, or maybe there is nowadays, and because it's got a slightly more modern sheen, I don't recognize it as easily because this has the specificity of the time as well as the
Isn't that
place.
isn't that sort of what happens in Goodwill Hunt? Like I haven't seen Goodwill Hunting in years, but that's popping into my head.
It's a little bit, but I always think of Good Will Hunting being more about the sort of the maths and the academics.
Maybe.
But you do have, obviously there is the class side to that as well. But I've just never had it, and it's really, it's, I find it still a bittersweet thing because I've yeah, I can see like the full spectrum of characters that I have through my life, and it's quite fascinating. I really like Maureen Lipman's performance in this as Trish. It is over the top and ridiculous, and then when things do take a turn, it is that just sudden, like, plank to your face reminder that, because for many people, whether it's music or books or poetry or films, it's an escape, and sometimes that can only last so long till we get back to reality. So Trish is another one that's kind of another facet that's turn them around 90 degrees, and it's Michael Caine's character Bryant. His escape just happens to be the bottles of booze that he has hidden everywhere. You can view this nowadays as a kind of analogy for how we all, or how most of us went on our journey when we started to enjoy the internet and forums. I think you go in, you know nothing, you want someone to help guide you. You get to a point where you think you know better than them, and you're a crooked little shit, but you're only a little fish in a big pond. And then you start to find your equilibrium, start to even out, start to find some contentment, and that's it. And you watch all the others come and go as you just continue at your own pace. So I think that's good. I think you could modernize this, and nowadays it would be called, I don't know, discording Rita or something. You could, I think you could update this in some way anyway. I think Kane is giving potentially the best performance of his career. I think he's phenomenal in this. He does very, very good drunk acting because he does appear to be almost permanently sozzled through this, slightly sozzled. And then there are times where he's, far too drunk for polite company. But the fact that he goes through his film being slightly sozzled for most of the runtime is like, it's all there. It's present and correct, and his performance is brilliant with it. I think Walters is great. She gets quite a few of the the more fun lines. She has the yeah. You could tell. I don't think it feels like a play in the movie, but knowing it's a play, you can tell the sort of the lines that were nailed on to be a great delivery to the audience. So she's fantastic. I believe this was her movie debut from her role in the play. So it's good. And yeah, Michael Williams isn't great, but I find the running gag of him grabbing a phone to be involved in conversations. I always like that and wait for the punchline to that. This kind of embodies everything I love, and but and some things I hate. But like I always say, I I don't mind if people, if people don't like the same things, or if people don't know the same things as you. One of my pet peeves, and I don't know about you guys, if you've ever had a conversation with someone, if you're trying to show someone something in the workplace, or if you're just talking to someone about something, and they'll shrug and be like, "Oh, no, I don't get that, me," or like, "No, I'm just thick, me," and they'll already be putting themselves down, whether it's a defense mechanism or it is just not caring. That's one of my pet peeves. But that is the sort of attitude that can also come about when everyone is stuck in the same place for so long, and they either don't think progress is possible, or they do see other people around and want to keep them at their level, which is summed up here by Rita's partner, Denny, and her family. You see that. So yeah, I think this is like not much has changed really. Although it's set in the UK, it's kind of the equivalent of that Bill Hicks gag where he's on about reading in a diner and the waitress says, "What are you reading for?" Not "What are you reading? What are you reading for?" It's that it examines those attitudes, and I think it is good to show the snobbery of someone that needs taken down a peg or two as well, as they are sort of trying to better themselves and do a bit more of what makes them happy. I hope I've tried to stay on the right road here without going too far off track. And I apologise if any of that was too rambly.
No, you did well. It's good when it's rambly. But that means it's time. It's time to pick one, T.
I mean, it's pretty easy for me. I'm gonna go with Ode to Nothing. I didn't mind Educating Rita, but Ode to Nothing was fantastic.
Kevin.
I have to go with Educating Rita. It has my heart.
I understand why Kevin feels that way, but I also have to go with Ode to Nothing. It's something different. It's unique. It's telling a tale that is real gut punch. But if either sound interesting to you, I don't think either is a bad choice. So next week
Next week is full of bad choices.
next week is all bad choices. Kevin, could you remind us about next week?
I can remember three. So the three I can remember are Subconscious Cruelty, because that was given to me, thanks whoever gave me that film. Ready Player One, because I own that, so that was an easy one to know I could watch. Marching Powder, because that is Danny Dyer, so that sprung to mind. And I can't remember the fourth.
In the fourth, the balloon one.
It is.
Ah.
What is it? Fun
The-
Times in Balloon Land?
Mm-hmm.
Right, okay.
That is my gift, because we are ending our year with another round of Secret Satan, where we try to break each other with movies.
I mean, either
don't know.
Tyler gave me my choice or somebody doing a cunning double bluff. There was a lot of like penis shots in it. And, like, I've already been getting ahead of the game. A lot of menstruation, a lot of random, just full on. I mean, there's anyway. I don't want to spoil any surprises for you, but it's definitely Tylerific.
Yay! I haven't watched any yet, so well, fuck.
The person that picked Subconscious Growth may have just wanted to watch a movie that he likes and wanted to not watch something that was 80s nostalgia again. But who knows? I'm not saying I know who picked Subconscious Cruelty, but I'm saying I get the reasons why.
Yeah,
Maybe,
yeah,
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
put it this way, there's nothing subconscious about the cruelty.
There's
It was a consciously cruel choice.
There's just cruelty. T, would you
I would love to.
please give the business?
We're on Instagram, Raiders_of_the_podcast. We're on Facebook, where I sometimes remember to post stuff on Wednesdays. We have a YouTube channel where you can like, subscribe, and watch Kevin's awesome videos, sometimes weekly. We have a Discord, we have a Blue Sky, and you can always email us at raidersofthepodcast@gmail.com.
As always, thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
See you.